In a previous video, I said that every Android app needs at least one activity. But do you know what an activity is? Hello and welcome to Learn with Tam. I'm Tarique Ali Mirza and my goal is to make you a kickass Android developer. Before I continue with this lesson, I have a quick note for the beginners. I have introduced many new terms and concepts in this lecture. So, if you get lost, don't feel disheartened. Just rewatch the lecture multiple times until you get the hang of it. Also, I strongly suggest that you watch this series in the order that the videos are being released to get the most out of this course. To recap, up until now you have learned how to use Android Studio to create new projects, open existing projects, and to run your apps on a virtual device. In the process of working with these short projects, we came across terms like activity, layout, and widgets on numerous occasions without actually understanding them. At that point, I did not find it fair to bog you down with details. But now, we are gonna focus on them as well, because it is about time you knew the component that we will use to make our Android applications. So, without further ado, let's jump right into our system and get started. We will start by understanding what an activity is. In simple terms, it is a screen that allows your users to interact with your application. In the case of our Click Counter app, our users could interact with our application by clicking the button and viewing the count because both of them were inside our main activity. To explain this better, I will make the use of the YouTube application on our virtual device. So, open Android Studio. Now click on the Configure button and select AVD Manager. Now click on the green play button next to the virtual device. We can close the AVD Manager for now. And I'll also minimize Android Studio for now. Let's open the YouTube application. Now, whatever you see between this limit and this limit is a single activity, be it the videos, the suggestions, or the advertisements. Everything is contained within the main activity of the YouTube app. When I click anywhere within this activity decides what happens with that click. For example, when I click on the Explore button, that click is sent to the activity and the activity decides which view should be served to me. Now, as you can see, when I clicked on the Explore button, a new view was served to me. How does that work? Well, this can be achieved in multiple ways. The first way is to use multiple activities, so that whenever user clicks on the Home button or the Explore button, he is taken to completely different activities. The other and the more efficient way to do the same thing is with the help of Fragments. We will be discussing Fragments in detail in a later video. Now let's go back to the home page. As you can see, YouTube is a complicated application with a lot of buttons and a lot of features. Once you are through with this series, you should be able to build your own application that has the same features. For now, let me walk you through a simple feature within YouTube. That is, you can change the orientation of your mobile without losing the data that is held by the YouTube application. To show that, let me first enter a search item within YouTube. Now I'll press enter. As you can see, YouTube has shown my channel on its search page. Now let me open my channel. When we rotate the screen of our mobile, let's see what happens. As you can see, YouTube keeps us on our channel exactly where we were. It did exactly what was expected from it. Now let's see what will happen in the case of our very own Click Counter app. So, to get there, let me first reorient this screen. I'll keep this virtual device aside for now and go back to Android Studio. Now open the Click Counter app. Let's run our app in the Android virtual device by clicking on the play button after making sure that the virtual device is selected here. As you can see, the activity just launched on our virtual device. So let me click on this button 4 to 5 times so that you can see the text update. The device has registered 5 clicks from me. Now what will happen if I rotate the screen right now? Let's find out. The count got reset to 0. What did we do wrong? Maybe it was just a mistake. Let's try clicking that button once again and reorient it to check if it happens again. As you can see, the problem persists. Wouldn't it be frustrating for a user who's just trying to use your application to keep a track of his counts? Unless you are able to fix this issue, you are going to have a lot of negative reviews on your application on the Google Play Store, provided you upload this application to the Play Store. Thankfully, there is a solution to this problem, but it requires deeper understanding of the application states and lifecycle methods. So, what are the application states, you ask? I'm glad you asked that question. An Android application can exist in the following states. It can either be active, paused, stopped, or destroyed. The active state implies that the user can see the application as well as interact with it. When the activity is behind a dialog box or is partially visible, or the user cannot interact with the activity but it is visible to some extent, then the activity is considered to be in the paused state. When a user clicks on the home button, the activity is sent to the stop state. When a user navigates out of an activity by clicking on the back button, that is the triangle button at the bottom, then the activity is considered to be destroyed. There are a couple of things I would like you to note at this point. An activity which is in the background and is not being interacted with can be killed by the Android runtime whenever there is a shortage of memory in your device. It is also worth pointing out that your application's activity does not have any control over its state. It only depends upon how you as a user or any other user interacts with the activity. If a user clicks on the back button and exits the activity is destroyed. Similarly, when we clicked on the recent apps button, the activity is sent to the stop state. But in neither of these cases did the activity have any say in what its state should be. Now let us look at the biggest elephant in the room, the activity lifecycle methods. So, what are they? The short answer is, they are methods that are invoked at different stages of an activity's lifecycle. Even though I did not mention it in the video, but we have already used one of these methods in our ClickoCounter app. The method is called onCreate method. Let us look at that in the code. I'll open the Android Studio project file once again. Here in the main activity file for ClickoCounter app, you can see the function onCreate. As the name suggests, the onCreate method is called whenever the activity is first created, right after you click the launcher icon to launch the app. Since this is the first method to be called, we do all our background work within this method to make sure that our application is absolutely ready before it is shown on the foreground and the user can interact with it. And that's the reason why we created our onClick listener on the Click Me button within this onCreate method. Just like the onCreate method, we have other lifecycle methods to help us in our development process. Now I will walk you through all of those methods using an image that I have stored on my desktop. So I will minimize Android Studio and open the image. As you can see in this image, as soon as the activity is launched, the onCreate method is called. And right after the onCreate method is done executing, the onStart method is called. Once the onStart method is done doing whatever it is supposed to do, the onResume method starts. And after the onResume method, the activity is in the foreground and it's in the active state. As you can see, if another activity comes into the foreground, the current activity becomes paused and therefore the onPause lifecycle method is called. While our activity is in the pause state, if other applications need memory, the app process can be killed by the Android runtime. And if the user decides to return to the activity, then the onResume method is called. If the activity is no longer visible, the onStop method is called and the activity is considered to be in the stopped state. While the activity is in a stopped state and has not been killed by the Android runtime, the user can still restart the activity and the onRestart method will be called. If on any of these steps the user decides to finish off the activity, the onDestroy method is called. And as you can see, the activity officially shuts down after the onDestroy method. I strongly suggest that as a beginner Android developer, you must have a copy of this image to be able to understand the different lifecycle methods and the different states that an application goes through. I will make sure to attach it to the GitHub repository under the folder 05 Activity Lifecycle. And you can find the link to the GitHub repository in the description. If for some reason you are not familiar with GitHub, you can watch the 4th episode of this series to understand how to download these files and use them. In that video, I have explained everything in a beginner-friendly way. Now that we are familiar with the different lifecycle methods of an activity, we will use this knowledge to troubleshoot the problem with our ClickoCounter app and then fix that problem. But that we'll do in the next video. That's all for today's video. As always, feel free to share your valuable thoughts and feedback in the comment section. If you like the video, smash that like button. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the bell icon to receive timely updates of all future uploads. I'll see you in the next one.